How's it going, ladies and Bruces? I'm Bobby Sixkilla and welcome back to Exit Corners. It's time for Chapter 17, 12 minutes. Not the game, part of Exit Corners. Let's get in, shall we? What to expect? I don't know, but Ether is going to tell us exactly how she knows who Ray's contact is, apparently. I guess that she's psychic, but I don't know, we'll see. Sounds reasonable, right? I'll tell you then. I'll tell you everything. How'd you know about Ray's contact? I just... knew. What do you mean, I just knew? What kind of explanation is that? And listen, sometimes I know things I shouldn't. Things I don't remember learning. Things that would be impossible for me to know. So what, you're psychic? Is that what you're trying to tell me? I don't know. I don't understand how it works. The only word I can think to describe it is... What I can do is clairvoyance. As silly as that sounds. Called it. Oh man, I should have bet lots of money on it. I said I'd bet a little bit of money, because I don't have lots of money to lose. The ability to gain information without the use of any known human sense. You sure about that? Maybe you just got really strong intuition, or... yeah, my intuition tells me your contact's name is Tiana. Now that's intuition. Or maybe you've just seen things before, but don't remember. It's more than that. Come on, I'm sure you can remember at least a few instances today when I've spewed facts I have no business knowing. Do you remember when I gave that lecture on ciphers? Oh yeah, even small things like Liza's favourite music or the fact that you have a sword in your room. Those aren't things I remember learning. Those were just educated guesses though. And already skeptical ink grew more so. I've never been told that Ray's contact was a girl named Tiana. That information was just sort of there already. Are you sure you didn't just overhear the two of us talking? I think I would remember that. Gah. What am I supposed to make of this? It's all ridiculous, but who in their right mind would come up with an excuse like that? If she was going to lie about how she knew about Tiana, I know she could have thought of something much more believable than that. I'm not going to force you to believe me. Not even my father would. I haven't decided whether or not I believe you, yet. But if nothing else, I believe in you. I don't believe you'd lie to me. Not like this, at least. It's a little bit ridiculous to be a lie. Maybe there's an explanation for this, but you just don't know what it is yet, or hey, maybe you are psychic. Either way, I promise I'll help you figure it out. Thanks, Ink. I'm hoping that one day I'll be able to explain it. That's part of the reason I'm in psych, actually. You know that being a psychic and studying psychology aren't the same thing, right? Just because they both start with psych. I figured that if all else fails, I can get a job where I can use this ability to help people. It would be very helpful in that, to understand people. Ink gave her a small nod, as if to say, that's fair. He supposed it wasn't his place to question her on something that he could scarcely understand. Still, he couldn't help but grow curious. Ether's alleged clairvoyance added to today's ever-growing list of unexplainable phenomena. Have you always been psychic? Clairvoyant? I mean, clairvoyant is just a type of psychic. You can say psychic. It's just a blanket term, right? For as long as I can remember. The older I get, the more it seems to come up. And I've never learned as much at one time as I have today. I don't know why exactly. Maybe the pressures of Exit Corners are having an effect on me. What else can you tell me about this power of yours? Don't call it a power, seriously, that's embarrassing. Ability then. So what can you tell me? It usually doesn't interfere with my day-to-day. I'm apparently more susceptible to hypnosis than the average person, though I can't say that those things are related with any real certainty. I don't suppose you've been able to divine anything that could help us escape. Sort of. Some of the puzzles seem scary familiar, so I was able to figure out the answers quickly. Not every puzzle, obviously. I see. Have you found out anything regarding why we're here? No, sorry, but I have learned a lot about you and the other contestants. Little things, mostly. Like what exactly? I know about your scar, for one. Your voice rang with melancholy. Ink put his hand over his chest as if to shield it. Is that so? Are you sure you didn't just have a peek this morning before I woke up? You think I undressed you while you were unconscious? Come on, Ink. Okay then, what else? Do you know where it came from? I can take a guess, but only if you're comfortable with it. Well, I'm not. Ink couldn't find the confidence to maintain eye contact. He sighed. If it makes you feel any better, I think guys with scars are super hot. I guess that makes me feel a little better. I got a scar. I got 12 stitches in my leg. Something the matter? I was, Nearby door slammed shut. Both he and Ether jolted upright, putting an end to any blossoming romance. What's taking you two so long? It's been nearly 10 minutes. How long does it take you to get an answer out of it? We got sidetracked. I thought you were going to start on the next puzzle. I am. There's just one little thing I need to take care of first. But before we get to that, I want answers. How does Ether know about my contact? Tell me how she knew, Ink. I'm not supposed to tell you, remember? Don't worry, though. It's a perfectly good... I'm tired of this shit. One of you is going to tell me the reason outright. No more beating around the bush. Well, they've met before. What? Ether and Tiana know one another. They met on campus a few times. But how did you know she was my contact? I overheard her talking about her ex once. She mentioned he was also in computer science, but then dropped out, and that his name was Ray. You seem reluctant to talk about your contact, so eventually I put two and two together and made the assumption that it was Tiana. She never brought it up out of fear of how you'd react, which, given your screaming just now, was justified. So there's your answer. You happy now? Next time, fucking say something. Anyway, Ether, I need your help with something. You too, Ink. Come on. Thanks for covering for me. The girl gave Ink a curt nod before moving to the next room. Oh shit, look at it. The room's dark colours did little to hide how barren it was. Ink's eyes were immediately drawn to the machine at the other end of the room. Its purpose eluded Ink, who had never seen anything like it. So, is that all there is in here? That's right. And you know what that means? I do. The door at the other end leads to an empty closet. This room is a dead end. This is a corner then. There's a keycard in here somewhere. Please be on your guard. I haven't forgotten what almost happened in the last one. I'm almost positive this room is rigged with some sort of trap. We're trying to determine what it is before we tackle this puzzle. Any luck so far? None. There's a vent up there, so it could easily be more laughing gas, but I'm not sure Scent is a big fan of repeat traps. Fat chance to be able to tell what it is before we start, but maybe we won't have to. We have to at least try to prepare for it. It's not like we can avoid doing the puzzle. Chill. If there's some kind of trap, Scent usually locks the door, right? Well, he can't lock the door behind us if it never closes, which is why I'll be having Ether hold it open. Can't you just use a chair instead? If you feel like running back a few times and grabbing a chair, that's up to you. A few rooms. It's fine, I don't mind. Anyway, if we keep the door open, we can just step out if it gets dangerous. Since we're going to be doubling back anyway, we don't need to worry about not being able to continue. Huh. That's pretty smart, actually. I'm not going to let Scent get the best of me when there's an easy workaround. Now, as for this thing... Ray moved toward the machine, examining it. Ink followed and did the same. The monitor above the machine was blank. Within the machine, beyond the solid plate of glass, was an old desktop computer, not unlike the one Ink had back in his dorm room. On the monitor was a text editor filled with what looked like a computer code. This isn't even a puzzle. Not for you, it isn't. This puzzle was meant for me, just like the last few. I knew the bastard's been building to something. What is it? Can't even tell what's going on. I've never really done any coding. I had a quick look while you and Ether were back in the other room. It's code written in an old programming language, but from what I can tell, it's incomplete. Half the functions are missing. Some of the comments in the code are instructions. Looks like something is set to happen if the code is finished and compiled successfully. So unless one of you knows anything about computer science, I'm pretty sure I'm the only one who's qualified to do this. There's only one opening on this device. Looks like it was put in place to ensure that only one of us can use the instruments inside. Yeah, that's exactly it. It also means that I'm going to have to do this one-handed. But hey, I'm up for the challenge. Hey, since this is the first real computer we've seen... Ray, think you can hack Scent's network? What the hell are you going on about? You're a programmer, right? Can't you, like, hack him? First of all, anyone with a tiny amount of computer literacy would know how to prevent me from doing anything I'm not supposed to. Second of all, I think your concept of computer security probably stems from shitty crime dramas. I kinda hate the word hacking. Either way, what you're thinking of is most likely impossible. I see. That's far beyond me then. I wonder what will happen when we solve this. It'll probably spit out the keycard or... I don't know. Something. What are the rest of us supposed to do while you're solving this? Watch and awe? Provide emotional support? I'm sure you'll think of something. Ray shrugged at his fellow contestants for inserting his right arm into the terminal. As soon as he did, however, the display above the machine turned red. Uh-oh. 12 minutes. Calm down. I see it. Ether, who was still standing in the archway, had to raise her voice to be heard. What happens when the timer gets to 0? I don't want to find out. Ray, can you solve this in time? So long as nobody breaks my concentration, I ought to be fine. With a dismissive wave of his free hand, Ray leaned into the machine and began typing away. Can I help somehow? No. You can't. I don't really want to disrupt him. Do it, Ray! Do it, Ray! We can cheer him on. Damn, I've never seen Ray so focused. His hand is moving a mile a minute. He said not to bother him, so I won't. I just hope he can solve it in time. Yeah? I can't help but feel helpless, watching from the sidelines like this. If I had even a little programming knowledge, I'd offer to help, but... if you had a little programming knowledge, I don't think you'd be much fucking help. I can barely stand to watch, everything's riding on this. Wait a sec. He's slowing down all of a sudden. Does this mean he's close to solving it? Or did he hit a snag? Best not to ask him, really. Got it. Oh, that was quick. There we go. It ought to compile after I make a few small changes. You solved it? Yeah. How much time's left on the clock? Just over 4 minutes. Told you I was good at this. Ray triumphantly slammed his fingers onto a set of computer keys from within the machine. And? Compiling. No errors so far. So, you've solved it? Most likely. Once this thing compiles, it ought to do something. Not sure what, though. This is only a small snippet of code taken from something much larger. Any idea what it could be? Whatever it is, it's hella complicated. Ah, there we go. Compiled and executing. Hank's eyes were glued to the monitor. It shone in bright white before abruptly cutting to send. Maybe it's going to cut his arm off or something. I've already solved the puzzle. Go away. Yes, yes, I know. You're a great programmer, etc. But just as you passed your test, so too have I passed mine. What the hell are you talking about? Why, the Turing test, of course. You're not fooling anyone, Sen. Get out of here. What's the matter, Ray? You actually an artificial intelligence, Sen? I can't believe I'm actually saying this, but Sen over here is trying to convince us that he's an AI. Don't listen to him. An AI? Is that even possible? Oh, but I'm not just any AI, my dear. I am, in fact, the world's first sentient artificial intelligence. What? That's hard to believe, I know. I'll repeat myself. I am the world's first sentient AI. You can call me Sent, for short. Artificial... Is that even possible? Why would you just tell us this out of the blue? Don't anyone believe a word he says. He's just making things up. Maybe the code that he finished was Sent's code. How would that even be possible? An AI is just data, right? You couldn't physically do anything, much less kidnap 5 people or build a hotel. Need I remind you I haven't built anything? Haven't touched anything, really. All I do is think, design. Labour is cheap, remember? Nice try, but you forgot you got someone who actually knows what they're talking about in the audience. You're no AI. You're too smart, too responsive. Nobody's developed language processing that advanced either. It just ain't possible. Why, thank you, Ray. I'm happy to be deemed smart by a programmer of your caliber. I am still an AI, however, regardless of what you believe. Yeah, well, that flat out contradicts some of your behaviour. Remember when Egg tricked you back in the cavern? You did so by exploiting your human nature. I'm a unique case, you see. My reactions are part and parcel of a special brand of sentience. Unfortunately, I don't think either of us have the time for me to proverbially sit down and lecture you about what makes me so special. Unless you think there'd be some other way. Some other simpler way to convince you. Nothing short of seeing your source code would convince me of that you're actually an AI. I think that's what you just saw. But you have seen my source code moments ago. Those are just some out-of-bounds prevention checks for it. Nah. There's no way. It all makes sense now, doesn't it? I still don't believe you. If you wanted to convince me that you were an AI, you'd have shown me your entire code base. You've done a ton of lying today, Sen. I don't see why I should believe you now. While that's true, I've only ever fed you lies because I wanted you to believe in them. If I were lying to you now, I would be doing so with the knowledge that you would not believe me, and I'm afraid that's just not how I operate. So, paradoxically, I must be telling the truth. Do you follow? Then how the fuck do you react so quickly? How can you understand speech so clearly? And why would you tell me this at complete random? Too many things don't add up, Sen. I could explain it, I suppose. But I want the mystery of exactly how and why I function to haunt you till your last breath. Which, incidentally, will be very soon. Ray, he's trying to stall, look. Shit, the timer never stopped. We gotta go. We need to leave immediately. I don't want any of us to be in this room when it reaches 0. Agreed. We can come back to look for it for the keycard once the danger has passed. Everyone exchanged an understanding nod and ran toward the door. Because Ray's caught in the machine. Everyone except Ray. Ray, come on! You need to leave. I... can't. What? My arm is stuck in this fucking thing. Ray tugged at his arm, but neither he nor the machine seemed to move at all. He tried again, this time more viciously, and succeeded only in bouncing back and smashing his head off the machine. Ugh, Set must have tightened this thing while we were talking. Let me go, you son of a bitch. How do you not feel it? Ray continued to pull at his arm, but it was useless. Ink and the other contestants stared at the scene from the doorway. Don't just stand there, somebody help me. Right. Ink was the first to his side, grabbing Ray's right arm. He kicked off the machine and attempted to use his legs to pry Ray out. Even with all of Ink's added might though, Ray couldn't manage to pull free. I'm gonna pull his arm off. It really is stuck. Is there a disengaging mechanism hidden somewhere? If there was such a thing, we would have found it already. Sim would be hard pressed to hide anything in a room as empty as this one. Maybe if we had something we could use as a lubricant. Maybe you could squeeze his arm out, but even then. Ink glanced at the timer just in time to see its transition from 3 digits to 2. He heard a loud snap as metal clashed against metal within the machine. We're almost out of time. Fuck, let me go, Sent. Sent's sterile laugh echoed from somewhere other than the monitor. No, I don't think I will. I acknowledge that you're an AI, okay? Is that what you wanted? I only want one thing, Ray. What? What do you want me to do, huh? To die? I'm going to use your own words to ensure that I'm understood. How did you phrase it? Ah, yes. The room went silent as Sent played a recording of Ray's voice back to him. You better fucking hope I never find you. I swear to Christ, I'm going to put so much hurt on you, you'll wish you were fucking dead. No, please. Fuck. Let me go. Let me go. Ray's voice grew shrill while Sent's face was hidden from view. Ink was sure he was smiling. Someone do something. I don't know what to do. Anything. Get me out of here. Ray continued to try and pull his arm free, his subsequent attempts no more successful than any that had come before it. Ink looked at the timer again and nearly fainted on the spot. Only 12 seconds remained. The contestants looked at Ray with silent stares, their faces fraught with fear. They were out of time. All Ray could do was look back at them. 5, 4. Please close your eyes. 2, 1. Off comes the arm. Ray's scream lasted only a moment. Whatever was happening to him drove all the air from his lungs. Ray's eyes rolled into his head, and lifeless white things took their place. Ink watched the colour drain from his friend's face, turning his skin a sickly grey. His limbs went haywire, flailing about in a spasmodic fit, smashing into machine and into himself. His mouth was stretched open. If Ray had any breath left in him, Ink imagined he'd still be screaming. After 10 long seconds, it stopped. The air reeked of burnt rubber and another stench that Ink couldn't place. Ray crumpled into a seemingly lifeless heap. The machine still hadn't released its hold on him. Ray! Ray, say something! The man offered no response. The other 4 contestants all ran up to him, though. Beth was the only one to touch him. She leaned forward and put her hands on Ray's neck. He's alive. Is he unconscious? Ray, can you hear me? There was some movement in Ray's left arm, but only just. He tried to lift his head up, but he didn't have the strength. Ray, what happened? What did he do to you? Ray spoke, his voice barely a whisper. Don't... No. Ray vomited all over the front of the machine, the floor, and himself. Ether turned away, gasping, but the remaining contestants all watched in morbid wonder. Ink wondered if there was something wrong with him, for not at least closing his eyes. Ray hadn't eaten anything today. Nobody had, but that didn't stop him from reaching out what seemed like whole pints of bloody matter. By the time it had stopped, Ray was marinating in it. The sight almost made Ink throw up himself, but he continued to stare all the same. Hurts. Is most of the pain in your arm? Ray spoke again, almost inaudible. Ink could only hear the tail end of a sentence. Feels like it's on fire. I hate to interrupt, but isn't there something else that might warrant your attention? Ink looked about, unsure of what scent meant. Then he saw them. On the floor, to the left of the machine, was a red keycard. Inches away from the card, closer to Ray, was a small container of pills. The label had been torn clean off. The keycard and... some pills? Indeed. That isn't what I was referring to, however. Ink did a double take, and only then did he realise that the timer had reset itself to 12 minutes and resumed counting down. What? Wonderful, isn't it? I think it's time for an encore. Again? You've already almost killed him. Kill him? Don't be silly. This machine isn't designed to kill. Every 12 minutes, Ray, I sentence you to pain. This will continue for what little remains of your life. No, you said it wasn't designed to kill. Or you could die. What do you say to that, Ray? Ray was crying. For once, Liza had nothing to say. This This is torture. I mean, literally, yeah, this is exactly what it is. Seeing synthetic laughter continue to ring from the rafters. I would be mindful of the things you say around me, Ether. Is there anything I can do to get him out of here? Please? Can't you see he's in pain? Can't you see he's in pain? Interesting words coming from you, Liza. Saint, please stop this. We're all begging you. Any person who can ease Ray's pain is Ray himself. The capsules on the floor contain potassium cyanide. Oh, great. So he has to kill himself. The best result is crush one between your molars before swallowing. You mean the pills next to the keycard? Suicide pills. Lovely. The very same. Are they anesthetic? No, you just said the potassium cyanide, dipshit. Ink, potassium cyanide is lethal if ingested. Scent means to kill him. No, I intend for him to kill himself. There's an important distinction. So there is. Ink, Liza, keep Ray alive. And Ether? Yes? You're coming with me. And so they did. Following their exit, Scent would herald his own. I suppose I'm all out of exposition. Now to watch the magic unfold. With 10.5 minutes left on the timer, Scent went quiet. Fuck, where the hell did Beth run off to at a time like this? Ink stared at the door. Started for the door as a weak voice called out to him. Don't. Please, don't leave. I'm sorry, I won't leave. We just need to destroy the machine. A horror-struck Liza creeped into view. She bore a sad expression, save for her eyes, which filled up with rage. Oh, we can cut his arm off. What do we do, Ink? Ray managed to sound a forced laugh, though it quickly turned into coughing. I bet you think this is hilarious, huh, Liza? I guess this is karma for being such an... for being such an arsehole. Nobody deserves this, Ray. Not even you. Especially not you. Sure, you can be a dick sometimes, but you aren't a bad person. Not really. The broken man hung his head low. Not that he could lift it very high. You don't know me, Liza. I've done a lot of things that I'm not proud of. I almost... Whatever you did, it doesn't mean you deserve this. Nobody has a clean slate, Ray. Nobody. There's something I want to tell you. Ink, if you give us a moment, it's, private. Of course. Ink turned away as Liza knelt next to Ray and whispered something into his ear. It wasn't a especially long message. I knew I was right. Of course you wouldn't have told me that if I wasn't about to die. You're not gonna die. I just wanted you to know. You understand, right? I should have figured you'd have known. You're a smart kid. You're just proud, that's all. Is that a bad thing? No. You're a Thatcher. You got reason to be proud. To be honest, I'm kinda jealous. I'm just a schmuck who made some bad decisions and missed the boat on being famous. I screwed up pretty bad. Ray coughed some more, spreading even more blood onto the floor. Now I'm gonna die having missed out on RN. Having missed out on a lot of things, actually. You're not gonna die, Ray. We'll find a way to get you out of there. Worst comes to worst, we cut his fucking arm off. Right? Don't kid yourself. I'm fucked. Sniffing loudly, Ray wiped his wet, snot and blood-covered face on his sleeve. What does the timer say? Just over 6 minutes. It's about time then. There's no fucking way I'm gonna go through that again. What? Where did the pills go? They were right here. I have them. Liza flashed them the container before throwing it in her bag. She must have taken them when she was whispering to him. Smart. Give them here, quickly. Ray lunged toward her with an outstretched arm, but Liza was well out of his reach. She didn't move an inch. Why are you doing this? Please. Just give them to me. And if there's no other way, I'm not going to let you kill yourself. You don't understand how much it hurts. This thing? But this is what Scent wants. He planned for this. I don't give a shit anymore. He wins, I give up. I say we wait until it starts hurting him, then we cut his arm off. If it hurts that much, he won't even notice us cutting his arm off then. Now please think. Tell Liza to give me the fucking pills. Can't we cut his arm off? Like, that would be I mean, maybe there's no option. Maybe there's nothing to cut with. I guess that's the problem. Fine, if he wants to kill himself, I guess we've got no choice. Liza, come on. There's nothing we can do at this point. If that's not an option, you know, that would be my option, but... Don't say that. There's a way to save him. I know there is. You can't save me, not before this machine goes off again. Look at me, Liza, I'm crying. For Christ's sake, I haven't cried in 3 years. It hurts, Liza, more than you can imagine. I'd rather die than go through that again. You're just not thinking clearly because you're in pain. We'll find a way to save you. Liza, it's impossible. I don't think Sent designed this machine with an escape mechanism in mind. I'm aware of that. That doesn't mean it's impossible. Liza, shut up. My definition of impossible has changed a lot over the past 24 hours, and I'm not going to give up just because you have. Ink paused. Was he really ready to give up? Just like that? He shook his head. Don't make me go through your bag myself, Liza. Just give him one. It's over. To Ink's surprise, it didn't seem that Liza was going to argue further. She spoke softly, her bright blue eyes tinged with melancholy. Fine. Catch. Liza tossed Ray a single pill before stuffing the container back into her bag. That was a better throw than Ink had expected of her. Ray wasn't in any condition to catch a pea-sized object in mid-air. The pill clumsily fell through his fingers and landed in a viscous pool of bile. Ray picked it up off the floor all the same, wiped it on his jacket and fumbled it a second time. Frustrated, he slammed the floor with his fist, then reached for the blood-soaked capsule again. Leave that right where it is. The sword! We know it isn't real! Standing in the doorway was Beth. Aether poked her head meekly from behind her. Beth carried with her the sword from beyond the green door. Except it wasn't a real sword at all. It simply looked like one. Oh, well, there you go. We can cut his arm off with that. With a blunted sword. What are you doing with that, Beth? Be quiet. We've got less than 2 minutes before this machine goes off again. Ink, give me a scarf. Ink obeyed. He didn't know why Beth needed a scarf, but ultimately he trusted her. Aether fumbled with her back pocket and pulled out what looked like a broken chair leg. Beth fastened the two together in a manner that Ink had never seen before. What are you doing? What the fuck are you doing, Beth? Please be still. Don't touch me. I don't think it'd be feasible to break it first, given our constraints. I'm gonna try and go through it in one swing. No, I'm not okay with this. This is the only way we're gonna get you out of here. You can't just hack my arm off like that. And here I thought you hated that word. Ray swatted at Beth meekly with his free hand, but she didn't so much as flinch. I don't think that joke is appropriate right now. Beth, you need to let me do this, Ray. It's better than dying. Fucking A, cut his arm off. I'm not letting you turn me into a fucking cripple. A cripple or a corpse, it's up to you. Ray had no answer. Ink glanced up at the timer again. Less than a minute remained on the clock. Beth, that isn't a real sword. It's not going to work. Ink opened his mouth to speak, but no words would come out. Oh god. I'm not going to force you to go through with it, but this is the only avenue left here. You need to decide, Ray. Now. Take it off. Man, I would really not be happy about losing an arm. But having said that, I'd still rather that than die. I wouldn't be able to video games properly anymore with one arm. But I'd still rather not die. Anyway, that was quite a long episode considering we didn't even have a puzzle to solve that time. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I'll see you in the next one.